Joining me today in this conversation is Mr. Shaji Mathew. He is the Chief Human Resource Officer at Infosys. So many thanks for speaking to PTI.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for having me here.
Shaji, Infosys was in news last week for firing 300 to 350 trainees in Mysuru campus. What triggered that decision?
Recruiting freshers from college as well as training them and making them industry ready has been a big part of our strategy. We've been training very large number of freshers over the last decade, several decades actually. In fact, our training center in Mysuru is probably one of the largest corporate training center as well. So it is a big part of our strategy, right? Training and enablement. It's also important that we get the right talent through this training program. So we've got a training curriculum and an assessment methodology which has been evolved over the last several years and really make sure that we get the right set of people at the end of the training. So as per the process, employees would be given 3 assessment chances to clear. And if they are not able to clear even after the 3rd assessment, then they will have to exit the organization. Now, this is a process that has existed for over 2 decades. Nothing really has changed. So in this case, what we are talking about, these are set of trainees who could not clear the assessment even after 3 attempts, and they had to exit the organization. And this is nothing new. It's something which has been happening for several years. Let's also remember, of the last 2 decades or so, we have got about 3.4 lakh trainees coming out of this training program successfully.
Would you say that this has been the highest in terms of one-time layoff of trainees for Infosys?
First of all, I don't know if I would use the term layoff, because these are all exit that's happening after the assessment failure. But this time, the number of people or the percentage is relatively higher than what we have seen in the past. There are a couple of things which are which are unique about this batch. One, as you said, these batches have joined with a lag, so they could have been out of touch with this technology, etc., for some time. Secondly, typically the freshers we select from the campuses, but these were trainees we selected out of off campus, right? And the third thing, what is different is normally we go to our campuses and do an in-person selection interview, but this was just after the pandemic, as we are transitioning out of the pandemic, and all of these people were selected in an online examination and online assessment mode. So these are some of the things that is slightly different for this batch compared to our normal process.
Does it therefore alter your hiring process for the future from the lessons learned from this?
See, our hiring process has remained the same for a very, very long time. Now, during the pandemic, as every organization, we had to adjust to the pandemic. Now, we are back to how it was in the past. Now, we are already back in our campus. You may have heard that we have announced 20,000 freshers for the FY26. That process is well on its way. We have had more than 100 in-person assessment programs across various colleges already happening as a preparation for those 20,000 freshers that's going to join us in FY26. So our hiring process, which has been going on all these years, that's exactly what has worked for us, and that's exactly what we are continuing now also.
Shaji, there were many allegations that have been made, among them intimidation tactics by Infosys. Trainees alleged that the assessment criteria was changed, the syllabus was changed, and that the test was actually geared for failure. How do you respond to these allegations?
See, we are an organization bound by the highest standards of corporate governance and ethical practices. In fact, we've been awarded as one of the most ethical companies in the world, 4th time by Ethisphere. So I must first say that whatever processes, assessment that we are following, that we have always followed, are as per the governance, as per the standards that we have set. Let us also look at it this way. These are people that we have selected and that we are training them. Infosys is putting a lot of effort and money to select them, to put them to this training program. There is an infrastructure required, investment into it, all the training investment that goes into it, and we also pay them salary during the training. It is in the interest of Infosys to see that all these people are successful, and that is when we are able to put them into our projects, and then there is some benefit to the company as well. So it is not in the interest of the company to let any of these people go. It is a loss to them, of course. It is as well a loss to us as well, right? And a loss to Infosys also. There is no real reason for us to tweak any training process or the assessment to fail these people. That is actually bad for us. In fact, to help these trainees out, we have given additional training for them, as well as doubt clearing session, because like I said, it is in our interest to see that they all pass through and get through this training program. And the assessment, etc., that we have used are very similar to what we have used in the pre-pandemic time as well.
The Union Labour Ministry has directed Karnataka State Labour Department to take action, and there are reports that the Labour Department officials visited your campus in Bengaluru and Mysuru. What is the update on that? What are you telling the government? Have you been asked to reinstate all terminated trainees, freshers? Will you agree to do so if asked? And in hindsight, could you have done things differently?
So yes, the Labour Minister, the Labour Department has been in touch with us. So they wanted to understand our training process and the assessment, etc. And we have taken through the entire training process, the assessment, how this is a critical part of developing the future talent, not just for Infosys, even for the entire IT industry, so to speak. They have been quite supportive, and I think they understand the entire process that they have, that we have been going through in terms of training and assessment, all of that. So we have cooperated with them so far, and they have been quite supportive, and there has been no further ask from their side.
Would you consider taking them back?
There has been no further ask in terms of taking them back.
Infosys postponed internal assessment of nearly 800 trainees yesterday for about a week. What was it done due to the pressure that has been mounted on the company and the outcry and the backlash?
So as I said earlier, it is in our interest to see how we can help these set of trainees to get through the training program, and they come out successful at the end of the training, so that we can continue them as our employees in the company. So we have seen the failure rate, and therefore we wanted to give them an additional opportunity and time to prepare. And during this time, we will help them in the doubt clearing sessions. We will have the subject matter experts who will be made available so that they can actually work with them to prepare well. So it is really to make sure that we do everything that is possible to help them through this training and assessment journey.
Two allegations come up. One, that you probably took on people not realizing that you probably not need as many post-COVID when the demand sort of normalizes a bit. That was one reason. That is what critics say led to this kind of outcome in terms of assessment and layoffs. The second thing I wanted to ask you is, so these 800 trainees who are now going to go through assessment, one of the employees union has alleged that they are also being, that their failure is going to be a foregone conclusion, that they will not pass the assessment. What do you have to say on both these allegations?
See, if you look at some of the statement that we have already made, so we are looking to hire about 15,000 people this year in FY25. The 20,000 is for the next year. So when we need 15,000 people this year, there is no reason for us to let go or fail some of these people, because we are continuing to recruit as we speak. In fact, if we let go any of these people, that actually puts our planning in jeopardy. So it is, again, like I said earlier, it is in our interest to make sure that we have the best result outcome from this training batch, because we don't want to spend all this time and let these people go, and that is an investment that we've made which is not fructifying. At the same time, we are continuing to recruit as we speak. So that is my answer. All these are just allegations, honestly speaking.
And there is nothing that can be done in terms of retraining those 300, 350 and trying to see if they can now pass the muster. There's no rethink on that?
Yeah, so like I said, this training program has been in place for over 2 decades. Something that we have, so to say, which has stood the test of time. And it has created so many successful engineers for Infosys, and some of them even afterwards go and work for other IT industries. And we have found that this program that we have done so far over the years obviously has gone through some changes, and what we currently have, we think it is a very workable and a successful model that we have given. Consider this, we have given 3 attempts for these trainees to clear. And between the attempts, we have also given additional training this time, also doubt clearing session to help them through that journey. We earlier spoke about AI and how technology is changing such a rapid pace. In this new world, it is important that we have people who are able to learn and relearn and be at the cutting edge of technology, and that is when we will be able to serve our clients, and that's exactly what our clients are also looking for.
Shaji, you'll be going to campus for hiring for FY26, 20,000. Is the overall number that you're looking at. What would be your message to potential, freshers who are looking to join Infosys, who are perhaps a little unsettled, nervous after, given the kind of developments that have taken place in the past weeks? What is your message to them? Is it denting Infosys's brand? When you go to the campuses to hire, does it put you at a disadvantage?
So I tell you this. I joined this organization in 1992, so almost 33 years, as a software engineer trainee. And I have seen this organization evolving from about 300 people to about 300,000 plus people that it is today. If there is one thing that I can say with utmost confidence, is that Infosys is an organization that cares for its people, cares for the trainees, all of that. So, and we have built a very successful organization over these so many years. And like I said in the beginning, the freshers whom we recruit and train them and make them ready for the industry is a big part of our strategy. And that's really is what a big driver for our growth as well. Nothing has changed in this organization. And I can say that with so much of confidence that nothing has changed in this organization. So there is nothing for any of these trainees to be worried about as well. They get one of the best corporate training that is available out there in the industry. They will be successful as it has happened always in the past, and all of them will make a good career. And like I said, I have come through this training program, sitting in training classrooms as we have all these people going through. And I can say with a lot of confidence that this is a company that cares, and this is a company where you can build career.
All right, one last question before I move on to your hiring strategy. In hindsight, could things have been done differently?
So what we have done is, there is nothing differently we have done if you look at it that way. We have got our freshers as we would have done normally. The only thing is that pandemic, and therefore whatever has happened would have delayed the joining date for some of these people. But otherwise, there is nothing that as an organization that we have done differently. We have had the same training program, we had the same assessment mechanism, and we are actually helping the trainees to go through this program as we would otherwise also do. Like I said, it is interest of the trainees, it is in the interest of the organization.
Right. Let's look at, FY26. Sorry. Is your hiring strategy aligned to the market demand given the changes that we have seen in the last few weeks? Whatever is unfolding in the US, the overall macroeconomic metrics. what steps is the company taking to avoid, a situation where you overhire and then perhaps after a point of time, that has to be aligned to the market demand. You also said that you'd be hiring 20,000 in FY26. These are all freshers, right? 20,000 number is only freshers. Is there any adjustment needed at this point of time?
So we do have a hiring strategy, and the numbers are fed into the overall based on the past trend or past learning, B, based on the growth projection that we have for the next year, as well as training projections and various other factors put in. This year, as I mentioned, 15,000 is the recruitment that we are doing, and we are well on way to do that. For the next year, 20,000 is what we are currently planning for, and as I mentioned, the hiring program is in full swing. We have gone to several campuses, and we are not expecting any changes to those numbers as well.
Shaji, the trainees have alleged that the testing parameters, assessment criteria, even the syllabus were altered, that there were intimidation tactics used during the termination process, that there was deployment of security personnel and bouncers. Your comments, one, and second, given the backlash, how do you allay concerns, amongst the trainees? That is the first question on allegations that have been leveled against the company in using these kind of tactics, and also the fact that the assessment was geared for failure.
Mohammed, I read about that, and I was really concerned and to some extent even saddened to see comments like that we have used intimidation techniques. I can say that this is an organization that cares, and I can't even imagine we thinking about bringing in bouncers and so on and so forth. These are our trainees, and we don't need to bring in bouncers to deal with these people. So that is absolutely not correct about bringing in bouncers and all that. But in terms of we have actually provided additional support to these people, right? We help them with the transportation so that we could they could take the transportation from Mysuru to Bangalore. There was also a concern about we did not allow people to stay in the campus. Again, there are people who wanted to stay in the campus, and we have allowed them to stay in the campus. So if we could allow even one person to stay in the campus, why would we let any of them on the street? This is not what Infosys stands for or what Infosys does, and that's really what I want to talk about that.
The other thing I wanted to ask you is the company mulling any compensation for these individuals or any support as they transition out of Infosys into other organizations?
Yes, we have planned for several things. First and foremost, we wanted to help these trainees with an outplacement service. So we have offered an outplacement service for all of these trainees at Infosys cost. Secondly, we have also provided them with 1 month of severance pay. And finally, we know that these are very difficult times and the emotions are running very high. We have also made counselors available for all of these trainees if they would like to talk to any of them.
We are just out of AI Action Summit in Paris. A lot of discussions on AI and job losses, the biggest disruption of AI being the job loss, that aspect coming out very clearly. How do you see AI impacting jobs, and what steps in skilling and reskilling is Infosys taking?
So we have heard a lot about the potential concern about the job loss on one side. And at the same time, we also see it as a huge opportunity in front of us, right? So if I look at the opportunities, the way I see AI would impact, there could be three scenarios. There will be three scenarios playing out. One set of jobs will get automated. Another set of jobs will get augmented with AI. And this is what we typically call as human plus AI. And then there will be a third scenario where a whole lot of new jobs will get created. So net, if you look at it, my view is that there would be a lot more jobs that is going to come up in the years to come. Now, to your question about how Infosys is preparing to skill our people, As we know, this is new technology. Technology is changing so rapidly. So it is very critical for us to make sure that all our people are suitably enabled. So we have a three-pronged strategy to enable the people. Depending on the levels, the depth of the training varies. So at the bottom, we call it as AI aware. So you can visualize like a pyramid. At the bottom, it's AI aware. It's for everybody in the company. So we want to make sure that everyone in the organization is aware of AI. They are able to use the technology, all of that. And that varies depending on where you come from. What a developer would take a training would be different from, let's say, an HR professionals training program would be. As of today, we have over 275,000 people who have gone to this training and got the certification. Then the next level is what we call the AI builder. And these are typically for the software developers, engineers, designers to have the next level of depth in their training. And the top of the pyramid is what we call the AI master. So these are typically for people who work with the large language models. We are developing our own small language models, the architects, and so on and so forth. So we have got a step-wise training program which is covering all aspects of AI in the company.
If I look at the economic survey over the past 2 years, it is talking about this aspect of AI and jobs. In fact, this time it highlighted again the unease and anxiety around AI disrupting the labor markets, going to the extent of even warning that, if companies do not handle the AI and job aspect sensitively, a policy intervention may become necessary. In fact, it goes on to quote an IMF paper to say that if government may be forced to tax the incremental profit if companies do not synchronize AI productivity with job creation. How do you weigh in on these kind of debates and discussion? And do you think incrementally the hiring is going to become lower and lower as more and more of AI takes over the workplace?
I know it has been a huge debate about the job loss, job opportunities. But if you look at it, every invention that we have seen in the history, I think we have had very similar kind of debate, right? For example, when the steam engine was invented, I think very similar debate happened about a lot of jobs being lost, etc. But now we know what really happened. Even here as well, my view is that there would be a lot more jobs that will get created. As an example, let's look at how we have been moving as a technology roadmap over the last few years. There was a digital transformation, then there was a cloud transformation. Now we are talking about this entire AI revolution. The entire cloud transformation would have started around 2007, 2008 timeframe. So it's been, 16, 17 years, and many of our clients are still going through that transformation journey. Some have completed, but many of them are still going through that transformation journey. Now, a lot of the hype around AI, while AI has been there for decades together, a lot of the hype happened after the OpenAI came out with their
GenAI.
So generative AI, and they came with the ChatGPT and the underlying LLM and all that. So the consumer AI caught on the imagination, and there is a lot of hype around that. And we are seeing a lot of progresses happening in the last 2 years. But the large organizations need what we call the enterprise AI. We need to take them through that journey. Now that journey needs a lot of foundational aspects to be kept in place. The data estate needs to be ready. And the process of taking the organization to that enterprise journey is a quite involved process. While the cloud would have taken 16, 17 years, and I don't think enterprise AI would take that many years, but it is going to take a good number of years for us to take all this organization to this entire enterprise AI journey. And that's really the work we have in front of us for the foreseeable future. So from that perspective, if you look at it, I think there will be enough and more jobs getting created, and this worries about job loss, etc., are misplaced in my mind.
Let's talk about the US, the biggest market for Indian IT companies. US President Donald Trump's policies and debate in America around H-1B has unsettled many people. There are debates around immigration and how that would play out on visas, of course. How will it impact hiring policies of Indian IT companies?
See, as far as we are concerned, we have built a very resilient organization in the US. So one of our pillars of our strategy is about localizing the business, and we've been on that journey for the last several years. So if you look at today, our presence in the US, majority of our talent in the US are what we call the locals, or they are visa independent. So we have already moved to that that paradigm for one. Second, in the last few years, we have also doubled down on our nearshore operations. So there is significant presence now for us, let's say in Mexico or Canada, same time zone geography. So I think we've got an operating model which is quite resilient and quite diversified, and we are pretty comfortable with the way it is currently set up.
Shaji, thank you so much for speaking to PTI. We really appreciate you joining us for this conversation.
Thank you so much.